Welcome back, everyone. In this chapter, we'll quickly look at Azure AD conditional access policies. Conditional access policies can be assigned on to users or groups in an organization. This will be an added security for an organization to protect their applications and their assets. Some of the common signals that could be detected uh, for the policy to be enforced, like user location, device platform like iOS, Android. Upon detection, user will be prompted for an action like multi-factor authentication to be completed for them to access the resources. So at its simplest form, conditional access policies are if-then statements. So if a user wants to access a particular resource, they must complete an action. So for example, a payroll manager wants to access the payroll application and they're required to do multi-factor authentication to access it. One important note here is conditional access policies are enforced only after the first factor authentication is completed. This is important. It is not intended for an organization's first line of defense. And for you to use this conditional access feature, you should require Azure AD premium license. Okay, so let me quickly move on to Azure portal. So here I'm Azure portal. So let me click on Azure Active Directory. So we can see the license that I currently hold is Azure AD Premium P2 license. Let me scroll down and click on Security. And you can see under Protect there are a lot of options. You can see under Protect, Manage, Report. Under Protect, click on Conditional Access. You can see I already have a test policy in place that is already enabled. So if I click on test policy, let me quickly show you what are all the settings that I already have in this conditional access policy. So you can name your policy under assignments. You can assign this policy to a specific user or a group in an organization. Here you can see that I have included one user, test user, at the rate of custom domain that I already mapped to Azure AD. So if you click on cloud apps or actions, you can select whatever apps you want to provide in this policy for the user to be able to access the particular applications. Okay, so here what I have provided is Microsoft Azure Management. So whenever a test user logs on to Azure portal, so he'll be prompted to go through a multi-factor authentication. So under conditions, you can see a lot of conditions that you can configure, like user risk, sign-in risk, device platforms. As I already mentioned, it could be if the user is signing in from an iOS device or Android device, you can configure that. So accordingly, the policy will be enforced. And location specific conditions can be specified here. So policy will determine if a particular request is from a particular IP address, and then the policy will take effect accordingly. So there are a lot of flexibility that you can configure here. So for now, I'm just keeping it as is. I'm not providing any conditions. So what I have provided is I've included the test user, and under the cloud apps and actions, I've selected Microsoft Azure Management. Okay, and you can also try to configure. Clicking on select, you can be able to see a lot of applications, cloud applications that you can search and select here. So if I move on to access controls section, you can see you can grant the access, you can grant or block the access for that user or a particular group. So here I'm granting access to that test user. I've selected multi-factor authentication is required. Okay, that's all we have specified in this policy, and the policy is already enabled. We close this quickly. Okay, now let me now log on to Azure portal with the test user. Try to log on to Azure portal with the test user credentials. Here you can see I'm prompted with an second factor of authentication, which is uh, ideally to verify my identity through a text to my mobile or receive a call to my mobile. So let me click on text to my mobile, verify my identity quickly. Click on verify, and there you are able to successfully log on to Azure portal. So in this chapter, we quickly looked at conditional access policy, how a conditional access policy in Azure AD can be configured with a lot of flexible options uh, for an administrator to provide. We quickly looked at test user log on to Azure portal, and we could saw that the policy was enforced onto that user, and the user was prompted with the second factor of authentication. So thank you for watching, and if you like this video, please share it with the Azure community. Thank you so much.